Yes, people, welcome back to my channel, IDBM Mixing. I'm Tyrone IDBM Edwards, and today we're going to be diving back into What Would I Do Today? This is episode 1, part 2 of Anyone the Wanderer's track, New with Who Dis. So without further ado, let's go. Right, so what I will do now is I will start to add my dimension to my lead vocal, the space. I'm not using reverbs right now. I'm using I like a chorus effect and also sample delay. So similarly to my parallel compression buses, I have a 3D bus send also. So what I will do is on that, there's 3 different processes. I have a Dimension 3D, which is like a Roland, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the machine. And then the other 2 are basically similar, but just using the sampler just plug in. Basically less here and more here. That's it. One has saturation on it and one is saturated too, but in a different way. If I go to the verse.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibe.
So what I'll do now is I will turn up the flavors. So we have 3DC, which is this.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my...
Very wide. 3DB, this.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
That one isn't as wide, but it does something different to the top end of the vocal. And then this one.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
That one has a lot more modulation. So although it's a consistent speed, it modulates and fluctuates, and it's a little bit, I wouldn't say it's like tape, but it's a little bit like having a high chorus on something. And I obviously don't have these faders all the way up, and I don't always use all 3. A lot of the time I use either A and C, or I'll just use C, or I'll just use B, or I'll just use A. It just depends. So if I feel like on the verse,
the music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me, not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, of acquired taste, my time is sacred. Man, a big money man in the making. Can't complain, I can't be complacent. Their estimation must be mistaken. Ups them off on a tangent work.
I'm happy with that. So what I'll do is I will copy this send over to the hook and the pre and...
New whip, who this? Coming through. Movements, where to? Who with? You pick music. New whip.
It's very subtle, but it does make a difference. And if you can hear, what you're listening out for is basically the lead vocal, which is in mono, going from just being right up the center to having a little bit of width to it. It's not like drastic. It's very subtle, but it just helps fill out and create a space for the lead vocal to sit, because obviously other elements have to be around that also. Right, so what we'll do now is we will get back into where things sit. I am going to be muting the drums. Actually, no, I'm going to work on the drums,
New whip, who this? Coming through. Movements, where to? Who with? You pick music. New.
So what I want to do is I would like to add a compressor onto my... No, wrong place, sorry. I need to send my kick out of a sidechain bus. And I will be sidechaining other elements to my kick to get the signature sidechain pumping that the producer has. We'll start with just the drums. So if I like to use the R comp. Sync that to sidechain 1. I'm going to go really heavy just to get it dialed in. that. About there, we'll introduce, that one isn't as audible, but on the like metals, the rides and stuff, you'll hear a lot of pumping now. So this is where it becomes very, very audible, but I'll need to dial it in more. That's his sound. That is literally his sound. So if we introduce other elements and take the exact same compressor, obviously we'll need to tweak because we don't want it to sound ridiculous. Oops, where'd that go? Yeah, we will need to tweak because we don't want it to sound like everything is completely being sucked out of the way, but we do want that little bit of movement that happens. There we go.
Sacred.
And it does also happen with the sub basses, but these are in mono. So all I'll do is I'll just copy the settings and open a mono version of our comp on the sub bass, paste the settings.
Where to, who with.
What I will do is I'll set the sidechain send to pre-fader, so even if you can't hear the kick drum, you can hear the sidechain compression. I need to set this to sidechain 1, my bad. There we go. There we go.
Movements, where to, who with, you pick the music. Nobody's an island,
And also what I like to do is I like to use Soothe 2 for sidechain as well, specifically with my sub stuff. So I'll send the same signal to this, but what this does is this specifically sidechains just certain frequencies that are overlapping and getting in the way. So if you watch it,
new whip, who this coming through, movements, where to, who with you.
And what I'll actually be able to do is lighten up on my actual sidechain. I'm using this for pumping, and I'll be able to reduce the pumping effect, and this kind of helps to blend. It's still using sidechain, but I'm using this to blend the low ends better, whereas the actual compressor I'm using to actually create a pumping effect. So in combination, it will be a better blend of the low ends, but with a little bit of that pumping still.
New whip, who this coming through, movements, where.
And what you hear as well is that the upright bass that's being played cuts through more.
New whip, who this coming through, movements, where to.
And now if I take the pumping sidechain effect and apply it to the upright bass, I may need to dial back again, but if I apply it.
New whip, who this coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick music. New whip, who this coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick the music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile.
I like where that sits. Now, because things are coming together better, now I can go back and I can bring my vocals down by, remember I brought them up by a dB? So I'm going to bring them down by 1 dB. And then what I may do now is bring my overall everything back up. Remember I did a move on my VCA faders and brought them down by 4 dB. I may bring everything back up, and then, although things are where they are here, now I can start to tweak with this. I don't like to, that original concept that I was talking about of not tweaking my threshold from the beginning on my mix bus compressor. The reason why is because things weren't in the right places. So I'd rather just like bring it down. Do you get what I'm saying? So now if I engage this,
New whip, who this? Coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music. New whip, who this?
I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to bring things back up to the full scale. Rather than it being down by minus 4 dB, I'm going to bring it back up.
New whip, who this?
And now I'm going to tweak my, now I'm going to tweak my threshold.
New whip, who this? Coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music. New whip, who this? Coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, the music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
I'm happy with that now. I'm happy with that. It was only a minor adjustment, but I am happy with that. And what I will do also is, although I'd set my balance for my 3D width vibe, I think it's a little bit too loud. So with this master fader that's here, I'm going to knock the master fader down by maybe 1 to 2 dB. I'll try 2 dB and then go backwards.
New whip, who this? Coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick.
Nope, that's fine. Now I'm just going to be figuring things out, as in compression for consistency on the vocals. I'm going to be, you know, sorting out, I'll be using some multi-band compression to kind of help sculpt the sound even more, because I still haven't hit my final vocal compressor stage for each section, and I haven't started messing with effects or anything of that nature. So what I would like to do now, if we go to the verse, we'll go first verse.
Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
I'm happy with where things sit EQ wise, but I want to do some multi-band. I always just use the top floating band and the bottom floating band. I just move them around. I would like to be in opto mode. I'll put it on auto release, and I'm gonna isolate frequencies that to me are still jumping out, but I don't want to EQ them because I like the overall EQ balance that I have.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on the map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile and enlighten the vibe with vibrance.
I want to mess about with that frequency.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on the map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road.
That's cool. Then there's something in like the 200 hertz range, 200, 250 around, well, I think between 100 and 250 that I don't like.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. The emotions to put these roads on the map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten.
At 155, we're gonna control that too.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. The emotions to put these roads on the map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred.
Now, because of what that's done, I'm actually going to load another C6. I'm going to bypass this. I think I'm only going to be using one band and quite narrow, because there's something that I can hear that's quite boxy still, but just in a different. It's still within. I still feel like it's within the low mids, but it's just further up than the 154, 55 hertz that we were. I think it might be around 300-ish. But I'm gonna check now.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded.
It's up. It's actually mid-range. So there's like a mid-range boxiness. Maybe it doesn't need to be as narrow.
Music. Nobody's an island.
I don't like that. So let's go -3. Oops, -3.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road.
Now I can bring the vocal down a bit.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra.
Because I'm going to use fresh air to add some air. And I want to add some air in the mids and maybe at the top. I'm not 100% sure about the top, but the mids I feel like could do with a small push.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred. Man, I'm a big money man in the making. Can't complain, I can't be complacent.
I like that. So now what I'm going to do is see what my final compressor sounds like. And I may implement some soothe just to tuck a few things in, but I may not. Just depends on how this stage goes. So I'm going to use I'm going to be flicking between fixed manual, which fixed manual basically gives me a fixed attack and a manual release, and manual gives me a manual control over both attack and release. So let's try fixed manual first.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred.
Now this is at 2-1. I'm always torn between 2-1 and 5-1 on this compressor.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my
Let's go.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred. Man, I'm a big money man in the making. Can't complain, I can't be complacent.
I like where that sits, but I think I need to dial back.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred. Man, I'm a big money man in the making. Can't complain.
Right, so that's that. And I want to see if Soothe, actually no, I'll do it on a bus level. So what I want to do is implement Soothe, and there's two presets that I like. I like MSM's Safe Vocal because it does some movement in the mids and the low mid. It kind of tidies that up, and if there's anything honky there, it kind of reduces it. I use it very sparingly. And then there's also a Dave Pensado preset called Vocal Bus Start, which is similar but more focused. It does a similar thing but more focused in the upper mids and top end. Let's start with the Dave Pensado preset. I'll load it up as it is.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
Now, it's quite delicate, so I can dial it in. The mix is at 88%, it's not 100% mix. But I want to dial it in to a point where I start to hear the vocal smoothing out a little bit. This is just a part of my process. It doesn't always go this way. At the time that I did the mix, originally I wouldn't have done this, but again, we'll get to the end and we'll do a comparison back and forth and see which one's better. We may end up being like, in reflection, we prefer certain things that we did with the vocal in this version, but the production mix in the other version, or vice versa. Or we may be like, overall, we just like the older mix. We may be like, we just like the new mix, today's mix, but we'll see.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been...
So that's that. So let's have a look at the MSM setting, which is called Safe Vocal. Let's see what that's doing.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down...
I prefer the Pensado version, but I just want to take out this top end. It's not necessary.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put...
And you know what? What I might actually do, I might do an old trick of rolling out even more at around 20k on a pull tech.
Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me, not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic trait.
That's a bit too much, so we'll go... I don't even know whether this plugin's in DB, but we'll go 1.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put...
And then the only other thing that I want to do is I want to add sibilance. I like the way that this DS sounds.
Music. Might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me, not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred. Man, I'm a big money man in the making. Can't complain, I can't be complacent.
I like where that sits. I like the brightness that there is. I like the overall weight that there is to the vocal. Let me see if I can get...
Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road.
Oops. What we want is... I feel like that will sit better. Let's jump to maybe verse 2.
Abstract with the action, could have been superstitious and absent. Excuses keep a man stagnant. Tell me how many actually happen. Stuck in your ways is just a distraction. Feeling music. Nobody is an island.
So what I will do, I can hear that my second verse is slightly quieter. So although it's processed, what I would like to do is I like all the processing that I've done, but I'm going to use clip gain to push the audio itself into the processing that I've done, and that should help things sound better. So I'm going to go 2 dB.
Music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded. Abstract with the action, could have been superstitious and absent. Excuses keep a man stagnant. Tell me how many can't deter me, not on my journey. Get up, then I'm gonna gain way more traction. Tracks on heavy road.
I like that. So now, to bring this processing over to other elements, again, this is just lead vocals. So if we jump to the hook, but we'll jump to the hook here.
Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. Knew it. Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. Knew it. Who this coming through?
We'll tweak the compressor.
Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. Knew it. Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. Who this coming?
I like that. And we'll jump into this section.
You pick. Catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out, set a new route, I put the windows down.
We'll back off on the compressor there.
You pick. Catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out, set a new route, I put the windows down.
And we will add some more gain, so we'll do +5 instead of +4, because we are actually getting an extra dB of compression, but I think it's necessary because when this was recorded, he was a little bit apprehensive going into this section, so his tone is a little bit lighter, so I'm trying to bring that forward and get it to match.
Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick. Catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out. New whip, who this coming through? Movements, where to?
Yep, I like that. And what I'm also going to do is carry over the Pultec EQ thing that I did at the top end. And yes, there's a lot of plugins there, but at the same time, everything that I've done is quite basic. And I feel like this is a good direction to say, okay, my lead vocals can sit here and I can now start to work everything else around it.
New whip, who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick music. New whip, who
Maybe
this
I'll do
coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. New whip, who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music. New whip, who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the...
Yep, what I'd done there was adjusted my DSR. I wanted it to kind of control more sibilance. And what I typically like to do is, once I've done something like that, I will freeze the tracks, because what it stops me from doing is constantly coming back and tweaking things. If it's frozen, it becomes, because I like to work fast, it becomes a tedious task to unfreeze a track, to make an adjustment. So I kind of have to get it right going in. Kind of utilizing the old school sense of when you used to record to tape, you had to get it right on the way in. If you got it wrong, you have to redo the whole thing. I kind of adapt that mentality because I don't necessarily want to have to spend 3 or 4 minutes unfreezing a track to make an adjustment to then freeze it, because it's counterproductive and it takes up too much time, and there's too much freedom there. So I'd rather feel confident in something and mix with that in mind. If later on down the line I'm like, no, I really need to address something, then I'll go back, I'll refreeze. But when I'm in that mode, it's because I've finished, I've kind of got to a point where I'm finished with most things, and now I'm kind of listening to pick things apart myself. And it always happens with the vocals. So if I'm picking things apart myself, I'm in that mentality. So majority of the work is done. So I'm not going to get stuck, tweaking an EQ for 45 minutes and then realize that I've been tweaking an EQ for 45 minutes and I haven't even made any real progress with the mix. I like to do it this way, where I'll just mix, move things, get things going, whatever else. Like at the moment, the vocals are probably too loud. They may also be too bright, but I haven't got all the other instruments in. I've just got an overall vocal tone of where I'm like, okay, this is a good direction to move with. And that was my objective. So now I'll go through the additional phases that happen after the fact. So let me freeze these vocal tracks. And now those tracks are frozen. What I would do typically is I would start working on effects. Now, I know there's still quite a lot of instrumentation that needs to be brought in, and I'm just working with what I consider the two main elements at first. Remember, I also said there was another instrument, which was like a flute that was kind of like a repeating motif. I haven't brought that in, and I haven't brought it in deliberately because it will throw off where my vocals are, and I will show you how and why once we get to that stage. But right now, I'm going to start placing my lead vocal into its space, and then I may need to adjust the overall lead vocal volume, but we'll get there. So let's start going with effects. So it doesn't need to be effect heavy. I think we need a small room, which I have here, small room. I've always got my things in a template, so I can just bypass and make active and whatever else. So this is my starting point, small room. It may not be my finish point, small room, but this is where I'm going to start. But I know I need a small room. So if we select that part of the vocal, and I send that through to small room, well, small verb, which is a room which is small and dark.
Nobody's an island.
Let me turn off I don't use pre-delays, by the way. I use delays. I will use a delay as a pre-delay. I'll show you how I do that. So,
nobody's an island. I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
That's normal.
Motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance.
So now if I want the pre-delay, instead of doing the whole milliseconds time, sometimes it works, sometimes it's great, but a lot of the time I like to use rhythm. So something like this, where I'm like, I want my vocal to be out in front, but I do want a bit of, I may not do it with this room, to be fair, but this is just an example. So if I want my vocal to be out in front and, I still want reverb, but I still want clarity, this is why you would typically use pre-delay. But I like it to be rhythmical, so I will use a delay with no feedback, and I will basically use the session's BPM, which is 138, and I'll go through and I will check different time signatures and see what that does.
Nobody's an island. I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way, and I'll tell.
Once you get to about 1/16th, to me, it becomes too far away unless you're going for a specific effect. If the song is slower, you can get away with being like 1/16th and like 1/8 quarter, I think like further up, but this is quite a quick pace song. So if I was going to use it, which I don't know whether I'm going to yet, but if I was, I'd be around the 1:32 mark.
Nobody's an island. I'm reminded when I drive.
Or lower. Sometimes the dotted signature and the triple signature also works well.
Nobody's an island. I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance.
So as it stands, I like 1/64 dotted, but I'm not 100% sure on the actual sound, the tone that I'm getting from the reverb, the space that I'm getting from the reverb. So I'm going to tinker with that. This is set to ambient small dark. Let me try room, and let's try, no, we don't want lush room. Let's try a deep chamber, but mess with the actual decay time.
Music. Nobody is an island.
See, that's quite big. So if we bring that down.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go the...
Let's try that.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads on a map, but I might need guidance. Willing to go...
I don't necessarily want to hear it, I want to feel it. I want to feel like there's a little bit of space around this lead vocal.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends.
I actually like that. So let's copy that over to the pre-lead.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tank, so we're
I feel like on the pre-lead it needs to be less, but we will use some type of delay to get a bit more extension and movement left to right with this section in particular.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out, set a new route, I put the windows down. Who this coming?
And then we will use the same effect, maybe the one from the verse on the hook.
Who this coming through? Movements, where to? Who with? You pick the music.
That will also have a different delay on it. We will use audible delays, but again, it may be more of a feeling delay. So the verse will stay as is, no delay. I want it to be very, very dry and clean, apart from the space that we've created.
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my end.
And I think I'm going to dial the space back a little bit more. I can hear a little bit too much of the tails, but I like the length of it. So...
Music. Nobody is an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads...
I like where that is. So if we jump to this pre-section...
You pick, catch me outside.
We can play with delay. The delay concept that's in my head, the idea that's in my head may not work, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out now. So if I bring in the H delay, I like using H delay. It's probably one of my favorite plugins from Waves.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising.
So what we can do here is we can kind of create a moment in time where this pre-section becomes about the rhythm and movement of what is being said. He's talking about basically, imagine driving in a new car, but you're explaining this story to somebody. You're driving in a new car, you can catch him outside, like it's an exciting moment, but we don't want to go over the top, but we want to create just a little bit of a difference in environment. So we can use delay to kind of build that space up and add more excitement in that space, but without adding more vocals and other stuff. There are more vocals, but we'll get there.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it.
So that is ping pong going left to right, but we may not want ping pong.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out, set.
I like ping pong. Ping pong makes it feel like it's taking me outside. And considering the concept of the song, I feel like that's fitting.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead.
But I want this darker. It's a bit too boxy.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up enough cash to fill the tanks.
I like that.
You pick, Catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out, set a new route, I put the windows down. Who this?
And then on the actual hook, I feel like another delay of a similar thing, but in a different time signature. So I'm going to take the same delay, but I'm going to change the time signature, and I'm going to change the feedback amount a little bit more, and I'm going to add a bit more top end back in.
You pick, catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in
So if we go to the hook, I may not be in ping pong either.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to.
No, I do like it in ping pong, but I don't like how much feedback there is.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through.
So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to send, I need to figure it out, but I'm going to send this delay to, I think I'm going to use a chamber, but I think I also want a little bit of chamber on this hook vocal itself. So if we go to chamber, send that up, and we will add a chamber reverb and turn it up. Don't think I want a large chamber. I think I would like, actually no, I think I want a medium chamber. I'm going to try medium chamber, and then I'm going to try echo chamber.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, move.
And let me try echo chamber.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick.
I'm going to try echo chamber. Echo chamber seems a little bit fitting. So, because I want this to be a bit more weighted, if that makes sense, but we'll get there.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music, new whip, who this.
So where that is, now it's very evident that the delay is too heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that reverb send, the chamber reverb send, put it at full effect for now, and we'll blend the delay while it's going into that reverb.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music.
Then we will blend the reverb, the delay send itself into the reverb.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music, new whip, who this, coming through, movement.
And now I feel like I can take the reverb down a little bit more.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick.
I feel I can get away with taking the delay down a bit more too.
Accelerate, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, accelerate, new whip, who.
So now if I take that off loop and we listen to the transition from that into the verse, back into that, and then into the pre.
New whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, music, new whip, who this, coming through, movements, where to, who with, you pick, the music. Nobody's an island, I'm reminded when I drive through my ends. Set in motion to put these roads
Really
on the
dry.
map, but I might need guidance.
And I'm happy
Willing
with
to
that.
go the extra mile, I'll enlighten the vibe with vibrance. Tell me I don't know the way and I tell them cool, alright then. Feels like we've been down this road before, but rest assured I got my ways. Too determined, they can't deter me. Not on my journey, get off my case. More mature, less insecure, learning to cure my toxic traits. Whether there's more or less on my plate, I've acquired taste, my time is sacred. Man, a big money man in the making. Can't complain, I can't be complacent. Their estimation must be mistaken.
And let's move to here.
With excellence, smoother entrance. Choose direction and accelerate. New whip, who this? Coming through. Movements, where to? Who with? You pick. Music, new whip, who this? Coming through. Movements, where to? Who with? You pick. Catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring that chamber over, but I'm going to bury the chamber on this section. It's at minus 19 now. I feel like minus 23 just for this section, just so we still get the matching vibe. But we'll get the same matching vibe, but there'll be, this vocal will push forward a little bit more out of the space.
Where to? Who with? You pick. Catch me outside, I'm about to pull up in enough cash to fill the tank, so we're about to do some cruising. Aux lead or the Bluetooth, we can tune it. Map it out, set a new route, I put the windows down. Who this? Coming through. Movements, where to? Who with? You pick. Music, new whip. Who this? Coming through. Movements, where to?
And watch it all go really dry now.
You pick the music. Abstract with the action, could have been superstitious and absent. Excuses keep a man stagnant. Tell me how many actually happen. Stuck in your ways is just a distraction. Feeling brand new won't go out of fashion. I'm the lord of the law of attraction, and the gal them are asking the accent. Feels like if
This is good, obviously, because also we have backing vocals, and I'm keeping that in mind, that I'm creating spaces, but I'm also creating beds for other elements to be able to sit in and kind of help glue into the overall sonic character.